Hello, everybody. This is Swati live from New Delhi, joining you for the meditation camp, the mindfulness camp for next 6 weeks. Very excited about it. So this is what we are going to do. In the beginning of each session, I would like to answer questions. Sometimes people email me questions or some questions I may not have noticed in the previous time. I would like to answer some of those questions that come up. Then we will do our activity or meditation. And then again, I will tell you why you did certain things, a story or a research or something like that about whatever we did. And then again, I'll take new questions before we end. That's going to be the logistics. One more time, some of you know that I have a psychology practice in Los Angeles. I'm visiting India currently doing some workshops. I am also developing, or I have developed this app to meditate, which I recently put in the app stores. So please do download the app. The app has 2-minute meditations amongst other things. So for those of us who have busy lifestyle, but want to meditate in the middle of the day, just for 2 minutes to bring themselves back together, they can use this app to meditate. If you want to email me anything, you can use my email to meditate together at gmail.com. To meditate together at gmail.com. I would like you to comment on your experience, ask questions, but just simple comments about what your experience also would be great. It's always good to hear that. I think I have said it before, but one more time. If you have unpleasant experiences when you are doing any activity or meditation, if you think that it's too intense and if there's any medical issue that's kicking in, either physical or mental health, please consult a doctor. Also write to me about it. It's quite possible, I've seen it already, and so I may be able to tell you what you should do. But if it is possible for you, I would suggest it's okay to sit through the unpleasant experience. When you are sitting through the unpleasant experience, it may teach you something that you otherwise wouldn't have learned. It may teach you something about either acceptance or some insight into your unpleasantness. And also your body will get primed into sitting through the unpleasant experience and transcending it. That's a big possibility. However, do it at your own pace. You don't have to push yourself too much because you are doing it on your own, in your own home. However, do let me know about it. Now one question that I was asked is, why can't we do mindfulness when we are driving? I had said, when you stop in the traffic and if you want to be mindful, that's one thing. But I'm not expecting you to do a mindful activity or mindfulness while you're driving. The question is why? Why can't we listen to the music mindfully while we are driving? It's a great question. I'm glad somebody asked it. So the answer is this. First of all, by doing mindful activities or by training ourselves mindfully, what are we trying to do? We are trying to pay attention to things. We do multitasking all throughout the day. Listening to music and driving, that we do all throughout the day. You are using different parts of the brain when you are multitasking. None of it is really going deep. What we want to do is, by learning to be mindful, we are creating a refuge which is away from all the busy activity. We are creating a resting place. We are giving our system a break. That's one thing. B, what we are trying to do is, see, whenever we understand something, is typically on the intellectual level first. Then once we let it sit there, we can feel things. That's the emotional level. For some people, it may feel like they feel all the emotions too much, but basically intellectual and emotional level. But what we want, that particular, whatever we want to change or whatever we want to understand, what we want that thing to happen is to go deeper, to go to the more intuitive level. And in order to do that, We need to learn to focus in a mindful way. We need to slow down, let it stay, and then go down. This is what we need to do with anything we want to change or anything we want to learn. Mindful activities or mindfulness meditation is one way, or the way I know, is to train your mind and body and brain to do that. And that's why you don't want to do too many things and you don't want to focus on too many things, especially when you're doing mindful activity. You want to focus on one thing and understand that one thing. So at this point, what I would like to do is to do our morning mindful tea. It's morning time for me. Those in different time zones, you choose what you want to eat or drink or what you want to focus on. Now, today, what I would like to do is we are going to do this for a longer period of time. It's like a meditation. It may or may not be pleasant, but let's do it anyway. And in that process, I believe me, you're learning a lot. Your brain is learning a lot. So let's do a whole 10-minute long drinking and eating exercise. And if it is boring or if it is difficult, please just stick to it and comment on it later on. So I'm going to time it for at least 10 minutes. So let me see. Okay. So we have 10 minutes to do this. I'm going to get my cup of tea here. And I'm only going to remind you to come back to the mindful activity. But otherwise, we are going to do it mostly in silence. And let's go with it. If your mind is wandering around, and thinking about unplanned things that you don't even know, that's okay. Just gently bring it back to experiencing whatever it is that you're doing in a full way. It is a gentle process. Yes, we have some goals in our mind, such as we are developing focus and we are developing awareness. We are experiencing everything on full level. Yes, we do have these goals, but we are not fighting or struggling to achieve these goals. They are just happening. Right now, all you're doing is gently sitting here, doing the activity in a full way. Bring your mind back, if it is wandering around, back to the activity that you're doing. And at this point, you can stop the mindful activity. If you want to continue drinking your tea while you're listening to me, of course, at this point, that's okay. So I have a couple of comments and questions. I would like to answer one question first before getting into something I want to say to you. When I practice mindfulness, it's sometimes hard to concentrate as my mind wanders. What do I have to do? So that's not normal. Some people have more wandering minds, some people have less, but all minds wander around. So that in itself, Ron, is not an issue. Now the question is, what do you do? When you realize that your mind was wandering around, say to yourself, this is my mindful moment, and bring back your mind, your attention to whatever you had planned to do. For example, today we were drinking tea, we could be listening to music, we could be doing any mindful activities. In the future, we'll get more into meditations. Whatever you're doing, this is my mindful moment. Let me bring it back. Keep doing it, and then eventually there will be times when it will feel like you are much more focused, you are much more with whatever you were doing. It's about training yourself. So I want to tell you one thing, and it's partly answering a question, but partly also a little bit of a comment or teaching. When you are being mindful or when you are doing any activity of this sort, it could be a psychological activity or a spiritual activity. Sometimes you expect yourself to be happy and blissful, or you expect yourself to get rid of all your anger or anything that you don't like about whatever happens to you. More importantly, have you heard people saying things like, oh, she has a mindfulness practice, but look at her life, she still does this. Or he is supposed to be practicing meditation, but he still gets so angry he explodes. Now, these comments, I would like to set the expectations that we have right. First of all, everything is in process. It's work in progress. By being mindful, you are not trying to change things. It's not a magic wand, but you are trying to change things in a methodical or in a slow and sure way. Whatever you want to change, that's what you're going to change. Other people, their expectations, that's not what you're trying to meet. What you're trying to meet is your own, not really expectations, but whatever you want to change about your own habits. You are going to become aware of it, aware of what you do. You're going to allow it to sit through and then allow it to go to the intuitive level, and that will make things different for you. So it's your experience. Is it changing your experience? Is it making your life more either manageable or more related? That's the question. Now, when you are being mindful, you will see, and we learn about it, you will have better relationships with people around you. You will develop more empathy. You will develop more different ways of relating to people. And in that sense, yes, you are making the world around you a better place too. This reminds me of a monk who was crying hard when his son died. And people were surprised. They said, you are a monk, you meditate every day for hours, and you still feel all these feelings? You still feel so sad? And the monk said, yeah, of course, my son died. That's the most terrible thing that can happen to anybody. It's a big loss, and I have to let that happen to me. So mindfulness meditations is not about suppressing feelings, neither it is about not having certain feelings, but it is about accepting those feelings, know how to manage those feelings and how to deal with those feelings and not to be afraid of them. And as a result, it will stay under control, more under control. But again, it is always work in progress. Remember that. Ina says that I was surprised how quickly the time passed. I was expecting to feel like a very long time, but in fact, I didn't even go through the third of my tomato, and that is so good. That absolutely makes sense. It is true. A lot of people say, really, we meditated for 10 minutes? And by the way, we are going to meditate for longer and longer as time goes by. So yeah, that is a wonderful feeling to have, that you did not actually feel the time passing by. My question to some of you is, how was the experience? Was it an enriching experience compared to the way you usually drink or eat? Or for some people, maybe they were stressed out that, oh my God, now I'm supposed to do this for 10 minutes. What was the experience? Anything can happen. My experience is that your joy from eating and drinking will increase because of being mindful. Okay, so let me see. So there is some other comments that I have. The one other question that comes up is, how is being mindful, or how is doing these mindfulness activities, how is that going to increase my peace and happiness? And for that, I have to say, my dear friends, patience is a virtue. Yes, you will achieve all those things, but it is again work in progress. How that happens, that's what we are learning in this camp. I can't give you everything all at once. All I can say is right now we are learning about enrichment, which in itself should make a joyful state of mind for that particular moment, and awareness. Everything becomes at being aware. And being aware includes your body, your senses. It also includes it includes your mind. So body and mind, we are becoming more and more aware of how our body and mind works when you are paying attention, and you are allowing that awareness to return into acceptance. Someone says that they were very distracted by the background noises. I hope they were not the background noises from me. It is probably the background noises from wherever you were. Yeah, again, being distracted, mind wandering around, these are normal things. That is going to happen. But then you bring your attention back to whatever you're doing. You notice, oh, it was very distracting today. Or I noticed this sound, but let me come back to whatever I'm supposed to be doing. This is great. It's great to be distracted. It's great to have your mind wandering around. You know why? Because that's what you're learning. So next time when you're working on your PowerPoint presentation and you are also watching TV at the same time, or you're getting distracted by TV, or you're feeling tempted to go and watch TV or chat with your friend, you will be mindful of that, and you will tell yourself, I can sit through this discomfort and finish my task right now. And then after that, guess what? You will feel really good. I think it's time for us to say bye now. I am going to ask you guys to do one thing. Next time we will drink our mindful tea, but for a shorter time. Most of our time I would like to spend in listening to music mindfully. So come ready with a piece of music that you would like to hear. And that's what we are going to do. We are going to spend a lot of time doing that activity tomorrow. One more time, first I'll answer questions from before, then we will get into the meditative activity, then I will talk about either some fact or some comment or research study or story, then I'll take the new questions, and then we will finish our session. So bye everybody, And all throughout the day, do your 2 minutes or whatever time you have of mindful activities. I have a suggestion, the app to meditate. Use that to just listen to the 2 minute meditation from time to time and let me know how you felt. Bye everybody, I'll see you tomorrow.